Hello and welcome to the Test Community Network. I hope you're all safe and well. My name is Tim Burnett. This week we're looking back. We have a bit of a replay from the Assessment Now conference in London. This is organised by the British Council. A really excellent event. I was really privileged to be invited along there. There was about 100 or so delegates there from awarding organisations, higher education institutions, and experts from the assessment community and beyond as well, and partners that work alongside British Council and their work across the globe. It was the event kind of covered authenticity in assessment, looking at assessment design and development, really in this space of this kind of the age of AI, tackling this big question as to what should assessment look like going forward in this kind of agentic and AI-enabled world that we're living in. Some really excellent presentations, and I was delighted to be invited up as a panelist to be on panel with Al Kingsley. Great name within the space. I was kind of awestruck with the celebrityness of that, and had a really good time. I've got two great interviews lined up for you today. I'm hoping that I'll get another third one in another week or so. So we've got Catherine Whitaker from the British Council on today, just giving her kind of take on the event, and Louella Morton talking about the event. She's from TestReach, but also from the Assessment Association, and we got into a little bit of chat there about kind of the transition and AI and how the Assessment Association is tackling that. Before we get into that, I just want to kind of show you a couple of quick things in the Test Community Network. So don't forget, you've got all these amazing events that you can look at. I'm going to draw one to your attention. We've got, if you're in London on the 19th, there's the Adapting Assessment in the Age of AI annual Stobart lecture. So Dr. Mary Richards involved in that. I think there is some other organisations as well, but that's the University College London Institute of Education. So I really do strongly recommend checking that out. Two other events that are coming up from the Test Community Network. Next week, we have a webinar with AI Spectrum, looking at the AI marking spectrum. That's a conversation with the team at Excelsoft. Adesh and Vish are going to sit down and kind of explain to me their kind of view on the wide range of technology and capabilities that are available in marking. Quite a pertinent conversation for anyone who was like me on the off-qual session today. The week after that, we have another webinar as well. So this is the first of a new kind of series, new idea that I've got, which is the assessment research sprints. And the idea behind a research sprint is, rather than this being a long kind of drawn out special interest group dedicated around a particular topic that kind of meanders along and then fizzles out, this is going to be about taking a pertinent question which matters now to the assessment community and getting the experts together in an asynchronous fashion to thrash out their ideas and come up with the kind of some understanding, so we can come up with some documentation, some guidance, and some expert opinion that will help guide people on this particular question, so it can help you now. Now, kicking off, we've got four experts that are going to join me. We're going to be answering lots of questions. We're going to be answering questions to the audience, but the idea of this isn't just the end of it. This is just the start of it, to put kind of Churchill's words in the mind. And I've been busily working away on this little platform that's going to sit alongside it. This is going to give people the opportunity then to asynchronously chat. So as you've got the challenge, you've got shared insights, you've got the AI chat with the research assistant. You can then have a conversation with that. It'll build up your insights from there, and people will be able to discuss with share their views with them, and they'll be able to take all that information and start to really tune out a really useful piece of guidance for people on that particular pertinent question. So that's what's coming up from the Test Community Network. I hope you find it all interesting. As ever, anything you see on here, you want to go to testcommunitynetwork.com, and you can subscribe for free and receive an amazing email that we get sending through every week, which has got all the highest priority content around assessment. Plus, I think there's also an article about Kim Kardashian and how she failed a test due to GPT. So we've got all the relevant news there. But let's get on to the main event today. We're going to start sharing my interviews with Catherine Whitaker from British Council, and then I'm going to share the interview with Louella Morton from TestReach. So here's me in conversation with Catherine. Thank you for inviting me along. It's been fantastic. Do you want to just introduce yourself to the Test Community Network?
Yeah, I'm Catherine Whitaker. I'm Global Director Online Learning at the British Council, but as I explained earlier in the event, we are actually bringing assessment and learning together at the British Council. So I've been working on our workplace proposition, so increasingly we're trying to align ourselves based on our different audiences, so bringing workplace assessment, workplace learning closer together. So I'm covering both those areas.
Excellent. And what were you trying to achieve in today's event? What was your kind of mission for this conference?
I think the British Council is slightly unique in that we both offer services in this area ourselves. We assess, for example, English language learning and competence, but we are also exam deliverers on behalf of over 140 organisations. So we have quite a unique set of connections. I think the most important thing today was to bring people from 3 different sectors together. So we operate in schools, higher education and professional qualifications, and I think what people have told me today that they've really valued is that cross-sectoral ability to make connections and to share challenges and opportunities.
I think it's hugely important, isn't it? Because and I was talking to a delegate earlier, you can quite easily get stuck in your silo.
Yeah.
Higher education, for instance, because it's such a vast area, you do tend to find that just at higher education conferences they only look at those things, but there's a lot to be learnt from other areas and other people. I know Al Kingsley did an absolutely fantastic presentation, really very quick, wasn't it?
There was a lot of information there. We definitely need his slides sent around so we can re-engage, but absolutely, great to hear all that.
And I suppose in a way he was a little bit more focused on the K-12 side of things, but when we talked about the literacy, there was a lot coming out from the audience. What were the kind of highlights for you from Al's presentation? What could have stood out? I
think the thing that he touched on, which is actually something that I've grappled with for a few years, and actually in a previous role as well, is this idea that the skills debate, as in, are we assessing students' ability to regurgitate knowledge, or can we assess the skills that they've developed in gaining that knowledge and the ability to do more than just spout facts? Yeah. That is being accentuated by AI. So that debate's not new, but AI is really accelerating that, because now the ability to find things out is even quicker. And whereas before you might have had to sort of piece together some research by obviously using the internet to sort of find various things, you can do it almost instantly by asking the right questions of AI. Not always accurate, but the point remains. So I think that idea that that debate around how can we assess those skills has become really critical, and that's something I don't think anyone's got any obvious answers to, but it's a question we have to keep asking. Yeah,
I think we are I think there's a lot of that. We're very early in the stage, aren't we? And I know it's been around, generative AI, since November 2022, but we're still trying to grapple with it, and I think we need to be a lot more agile about how we approach it. But you've just released some new AI solutions, haven't you? Can you tell us about those?
Yeah. Yes, so we have a capability called AIBC, and AIBC has been working for a couple of years on being able to provide robust assessment for English language learners. So last Wednesday within English Online, we launched hundreds of new AI speaking practice activities. There were 2 different kinds. We have speaking practice activities that are unlocked after a student attends a class, which is with a live teacher online, and they're very contextualized. So students will be asked questions that will help prompt them to use the language that they have heard or started to meet and need to practice as a result of that lesson. But where we're taking a step forward into using AI in assessment is the second kind of activity, which comes at the end of a block of study where students are asked to receive various inputs. So, for example, they might need to be working towards a presentation, and we give them the input that would allow them to then present. When they're ready, they start the call with the bots, and they deliver their presentation, and then they'll have some interaction with the bot. As a result of that sort of longer form activity, we provide assessments or provide feedback based on AI-powered assessment over a number of different areas, and that's an area that we're going to be building out and expanding over time. Yeah. So it's very new. We've just had a week's worth of operation, but what's so exciting is that around 90% of the people who've given feedback have said that the activity was at the right language level for them, because that's one of our biggest challenges, is making sure that people for whom English is a foreign language or a second language, that the activity is something they can actually do if they've got limited English. Yeah. And then about a similar proportion, around 90%, have said that they found it helpful or really helpful. So, so far so good, but early days.
Excellent. So do you think assessment 2026, is that assessment now 2026, is that going to be on your event calendar, do you think?
Absolutely, and what I hope we can do as British Council is perhaps share some of our own learnings, because it was a little bit too new this year to go into detail, but absolutely next year I think we'll be able to share some of the learnings. And that's something that I think the panel that we were on together, you pointed out, it's so important to share.
Yeah.
I think, as you say, it's all really early days. People are learning as they go, and the best thing we can do is share examples of good practice, and also where it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think that's just as important.
That is one area that I think within the community, we don't talk about the failures enough, do we? And people need to feel as though they can share those. I know there's the regulators there and people like that, but they need to hear it as well.
Yes, yeah.
Because we all need to learn from those lessons.
Yeah, I mean, good practice comes about by working out what bad practice is.
It does,
as well.
absolutely, yeah. And you've got to experiment as well, I think. It's an important part of the thing. But brilliant event. Thank you very much for inviting us on.
Absolutely welcome.
It was really great. Thank you. For joining me. We've been here at the Assessment Now conference. Do you want to introduce yourself to the Test Community Network?
Yes, my name is Louella Morton and I'm co-founder and co-CEO of TestReach.
And it's amazing to see here a real mix of the vendors, the suppliers, the partners, the assessment organisations. Have you done lots of networking while you've been here today?
I have, and I've really enjoyed that mix as well of the kind of professional bodies and the higher ed space. And the commonality between them, everyone is trying to understand this whole area of AI, but there's a lot of common ground there around trying to get the next steps and understand it.
Yeah, people are still trying to kind of, I suppose, get their head around what's happening in the space, aren't they? Yeah. And in terms of the event itself, did you find it useful in terms of the content and the from the presentations? Was there anyone that particularly stood out to you in terms of the sessions?
I think the panel discussions were very, very good, because there were questions from the audience and then hearing the different perspectives on things. I think it's really coming down to what is the role of humans in this world of AI, and getting different perspectives on that I thought was very, very interesting.
And you've just taken on board the EAA board role. I feel as though I may have handed over my role to your.
Yes, we miss you.
And there was a lot of talk about kind of the digital adoption and technology.
Yeah.
Where do you think the EAA can take that forward? What role do you think the EAA can have in trying to address some of maybe the questions that we've seen today? Do you have any kind of views on that? Yeah,
well, I definitely think the EAA has a big role to play in terms of best practice, in terms of thought leadership, and in terms of providing advice and guidance, because the exams industry, up until 10 years ago, hadn't changed for 3,000 years. People were still taking exams on pen and paper in test centres. And in the last 10 or 15 years, I mean, it's just exploded in terms of the rate of change. And people are struggling. Exams departments, they're not sure how to embrace the new technologies. They're in uncharted waters. And I think the EAA has a role to play there in terms of providing a guiding light and providing thought leadership and bringing together people so they can discuss these topics and find a way forward so that they are implementing best practice.
Yeah, so we've had a great event here where people come from different areas within the British Council ecosystems, lots to be taken forward. I think it's important that other events and conferences do take those messages forward. What about TestReach? You're working in AI activities. Is there anything exciting on the horizon for you that you want to share, or is it all still kind of early days? Or
I think certainly there's a lot of innovation there, and we're looking at we've never been, I guess, followers. We've always wanted to figure things out ourselves and really understand, is this effective? Yeah. Is it impactful? Is it actually going to make a difference? Yeah. Or is it just something that you can say is good or you might perceive as good? So from that perspective, we're always looking at new technologies. Now, on the flip side of that, I would say, there is... I think a lot of examining bodies, they're risk averse, they're change averse. Yeah. So you still have situations where, we talk about exam integrity, say, and we look at, how are people trying to cheat? But yet, a fundamental part of that would be probably to change up how we ask questions. Yeah. Yeah. To bring in things like linear on the fly, to bring in things like using different types of questions, using item banks in the right way, but yet you still have an awful lot of organisations who are absolutely wedded to MCQs and text.
Yeah.
So it's, there is that, yes, innovation there, and there are early adopters, there are innovators, and certainly we love all that kind of innovation piece, but you also have a lot of organisations that we work with that do want to they are cautious.
Yeah. I think one thing that, if people don't know this, I think you're one of the first organisations that actually come with that online proctoring and test delivery as a package. So I think everyone would look forward to hearing more from TestReach in that area. But great
exciting
event, lots to take away. Thank you for joining us, and speak to you soon. Thank you, Louella. Thank you, Catherine. It's just some really interesting insights into a really excellent event. To be honest, it was. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the content was excellent, and I do welcome the international aspect that the British Council bring to it, not only from the delegates, the people that bring along, but also from the kind of breakout sessions as well that they run, just looking at particular use cases, case studies from their work internationally as well. So well done. It was excellent and really enjoyed it. Right, next week, lots more to come. We've obviously got these webinars coming up, and I've got 3 or 4 interviews already lined up. I don't know, a couple are dropping in terms of recording, so there's always a risk that people get bumped or moved around. So I can't really confirm exactly what's coming, but lots of really great content as we run up to the Christmas holidays. So that's it from me. Thank you. Remember to subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.